What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about when to fire your client as a new business owner. Now, you don't have to be a new business owner to watch this and understand the lessons. However, it would land very well with new business owners that are struggling with this topic. What's up, guys? My name's Chris, founder at Warrior Consulting, and I help entrepreneurs internationally get to, scale to, hit, and work past the 8-figure mark. And with this advice, you could do it too. So let's jump into the show. We're going to go over 3 things on telltale signs when to fire your client. The first thing that is a huge red flag that should indicate that the relationship is strained and it might be time to move on is they are not, meaning the clients or the customers are not following expectations. What does that mean? That means before you started doing business with this client, there was a discussion in the exchange of services. The client hired you to provide a service. So in this case, when you provide a service, there should be expectations both ways, for the customer and for you, from the customer and from you. Expectations from both parties. If expectations were not had and you struggle with clients, this is also a perfect example to reinforce having expectations are important. Why? Because there's a telltale sign it's time to fire a client when they're not meeting the expectations that were discussed. This is very situational. If the client's not meeting the expectations and you've addressed them on it and they're still not doing it and they're continuing to not do it, this is a telltale sign that it's time to fire your client and move on. Number 2, this might sound odd, but it's time to fire your client when they don't align to your core values anymore. I recently just went through this actually, and have been through this hundreds of times over the course of my career. And before I specify it, firing your client isn't a bad thing, guys. Firing your client, what that does is it allows your client to find what it is they're looking for somewhere that's better for them, and it allows you to work with more aligned clients. So don't look at being fired negatively. Look at it as creating an opportunity for everybody to grow, just not with each other. And when I say core values, what I mean is every person in every company should have a set of core values that they operate by. One core value for me personally and all of my companies is respect. So if a client is acting disrespectful, we will have that conversation with them, explaining it to them, reminding them. But when it gets too out of control and they violate a core value, in this case, I'm using respect as a core value. When they violate respect, it's time to have them move on. And in this case, I actually had the client fire themselves. And that was the exact same situation the last time I fired a client as well, because I've gotten good at this and there's no bridges burnt. You just realize that you're just not aligned. So a really good way to fire a client is when they're not aligned to your core values. Okay, third thing here. This should be a no-brainer, but I threw it in here because I've worked with clients that have had this situation and they didn't fire their clients. And that situation is this. If your client is not paying you anymore or constantly is giving you excuses to why their payments are late or whatever the excuse is, that they're waiting on income and yada, 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 and they're not paying their bill and expecting you to continue to work, but they're not paying you, it's time to cut it off. If people can't pay their bill and they're giving you excuses and you allow them to keep getting service and or product from you, it's actually your fault. So you're going to want to fire them quickly and say, when you have the money, come back and we'll chat then. It's really that simple. Okay, so when to fire your client as a new business owner. The 3 things are expectations, core values, and of course, number 3, money. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. I hope you learned something. If you did learn something, drop it in the comments below. If you didn't learn something, drop a comment below. It helps us rank. It helps this show get seen. Also, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because I know the majority of you are watching are not subscribers. So hit that subscribe button.